Hey, what's going on? This is Shock from the Shock Block, and I'm here to review the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that just came out recently. Yep, I, it's very interesting. I heard the critics weren't really loving this movie, and I just, I'm just surprised, as all. I'm really, surprised, actually. I guess I'm not that surprised, to be honest, because the movie is a little bit, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit unusual for, I guess, what you would consider a thrilling horror movie, where, you expect, these animatronics to come alive and, kill people. And, there is that in the movie, a good portion of it, but, a lot of the movie is us getting to know the main character, Mike, and Josh Hutcherson's character. And I feel like in order for the movie to work for somebody, you have to connect with this character. You have to like him. And I could see, in a way, why some people might struggle to find this guy interesting, because in some ways he's a very interesting actor. I haven't really seen him in a whole lot of stuff other than the Hunger Games movie, and that was years ago I saw the movie. So it's been a while, but I liked him. I think he did a good job, and I didn't fully like all of his acting. Obviously, it's gonna feel like there's one part where I laughed and was like, "Oh, what was that?" But for the most part, I thought he did a great job. He did fantastic. I really connected with the character, and I, don't really get why people have to be so harsh on this film. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I really liked it as a film. Yeah, it's not the greatest horror movie ever. It's not spectacular, but it was good. It was a good film. I want to say that the animatronics are really well done. I'm glad they got Jim Henson involved. That was such a good idea, such a good move. And the guy who played the guy on the phone, or the guy who hires him, I forget the actor's name, but he did a great job. He played Shaggy in the old Scooby Doo movie. He did a great job with that character too. That was really cool. Just how well he acted, how well he pulled off this crazy old man, that you just don't, that you just okay, there's something up with that guy. And I'm trying not to spoil the movie. I'm gonna probably go into spoilers later on in the video, but I'm trying just to let you know that if you're a FNAF fan, you're gonna like this film. You'll like it. You'll be like, oh yeah, this is like the game. There's all these references, all these things. Matt Pat makes a cameo, and that's not really a spoiler because it's on the internet already. And if you type in FNAF, maybe you're trying to avoid spoilers and you didn't want to know the cameo. Oh no, the Matt Pat cameo. That's not a big spoiler at all. Anyway, I loved that. I was like, oh, it's him. Ah. I was shocked. I was like, whoa, it's Matt Pat. I kind of I was spoiled by that too. I saw that pop up in my feed, oh, I'm in the movie, I'm Matt Pat. I'm like, oh, okay, you're in the movie. But I was still caught off guard when I saw him. I was like, oh, I was I knew he was going to be in the movie, but I didn't know where he was going to show up. It was in an unexpected spot in the movie. But yeah, I feel like this movie did well with me because it really brought me back to that time when I was a kid in the 90s and you're growing up and things are just a little bit, weird with stuff that happens in your memories, or just I don't know. That's what Mike's struggling with, is his memories, his dreams, and it's just it almost plays up that idea of being a kid in the 90s, what this was. It has a piece of that in there. A piece of that is in its DNA, and I like that so much. I'm like, that was Scott Cawthon, wasn't it? I bet you he wrote that in there. He is the guy who's helping with the script and everything. And I just thought that was really good. And he had a cassette tape player he listened to fall asleep to. I used to do that when I was a kid. I used to listen to cassette tape players when I was a kid. I would fall asleep. And man, that was whoa. I don't see that too much in a film, where it directly connects with you, like to your past. I know that's a thing with me, but I'm sure that's a thing with a lot of other people who grew up in that time frame. And you know, and that where the way he fell asleep, like the cinematography of where he felt, like it was like focusing on that poster with the nature. I was like, oh my gosh, like that feels just like when I used to fall asleep to like noises and stuff. It was like crazy, like because I used to have weird dreams where I would look at the wall and like I would go into a trance almost and fall asleep to like, you know, this different reality. You know, being a kid, weird stuff happens in your dreams that like you don't have happen when you're an adult. Anyways, enough of that. I just thought that was very interesting that he included that in the film. It almost gave it like a psychological horror feel. And I like that because, you know, you can't just have this guy be going up there to do his job and that's like be just like the video game. Like, we gotta have a story, you gotta adapt it to film and make it interesting. And they did a good job with that. They actually tried to have a character and give him character development and give him a backstory and have him have a connection with the Five Nights at Freddy's crew. I won't spoil like what that is yet. I'll just say it's a good time. You should go watch it, and it's thrilling. It's interesting. It makes your brain start going. And you're like, huh, okay. I wonder where this is going. You know, because you're just trying to figure out the mystery a bit. Like, yeah, you already kind of know the mystery because Matt Pat's already talked about it in his videos. If you've watched them, if you're a FNAF fan, you know what that mystery is, kind of. But there's still a mystery in this movie. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like the way they're setting up this whole thing with this character that we've never heard of before, who is the security guard in this movie. Like, I just thought that they played this so well with the story. I was just like, I was so invested as like, where are we going with this? And I can't wait to see like the sequel. I'm sure they're going to make a sequel now. I mean, hopefully they do. I hope they do because I'm really liking this. I mean, I know, okay, so the movie wasn't the best. There's parts where it kind of drags a bit, but like for most of the movie, I was invested. And it wasn't like the Sonic movie where they just had these scenes where it's like, oh, this is where we're going to have, you know, the character moments and stuff so we can have this be a film. No, it's not like that at all. Like, it's supposed to be grounded in this world because, you know, animatronics in the 80s, now it's the 90s, and, you know, everything's set up. It's supposed to be like this, and it's not like it's not like those other video game movies where, you know, it's taken away from the animatronics. So the animatronics aren't going to talk to you. We need to have these characters in there so that we can have a story. And I like that. And I mean, yes, we do get that where like the animatronics are like killing people and things are, you know, going crazy and it's horror. And they actually did push the PG-13 rating quite a bit, I feel like. Like, stuff was like kind of like they even had like a little bit of blood show up. I mean, I know maybe you can have a little bit of blood that wasn't a whole lot. And I was just like, whoa. Like, this is brutal. Like, I'm surprised this movie didn't just go full out R. I mean, I guess they wanted to have kids watch it because kids are kind of the audience for Five Nights at Freddy's, which I didn't really know that was the case until, like, I kind of caught on with someone said that in the video. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it is. I can see that. You know, it's a kid's game. Kids latch on to these characters of, like, these animatronics, and because they look kind of cute on the surface level. But so it kind of invests them into this whole thing. Like, kids like being scared. I mean, there's all this spooky fandom on the internet that like I don't quite understand myself because like I like to be scared to a point. I don't. It's anyway. I want to get into that. Anyways, so the thing is that I enjoyed this movie. I liked that it wasn't like that scary. Like, it was scary. Like, I was scared for like the characters like later on in the movie, but like I've seen a lot of horror movies, like not a lot because I don't really like horror movies. I'm not like a big horror guy, but I've seen Halloween, I've seen Nightmare on Elm Street, I've seen stuff like that. That's like growing up when I was whenever I watched movies with my dad, and it fun, and like you like after you've watched them enough, you kind of like go, okay, so this is kind of like how the movie goes, you know, it's this guy this guy's gonna probably die because this is happening to him, and oh, this guy, you know, there was anyway. Anyway, I'm just saying, like I was able to try to be like, okay, this isn't that scary, but then it gets scary later on. So that's what I liked about it. Mike's character, him going into his dreams and stuff, that was the coolest part for me. That was, I feel like that's an original idea. I mean, sure, you could say, oh, it's like Nightmare on Elm Street, where, oh, it's like dreams. But no, it's not quite like that. Like, it is kind of like that when they do that in the film. And I guess I'm going to go into spoilers now because I'm going more into detail. And if you don't want spoilers, like, you can just, like, skip to the end, I guess, and I'll give you a rating or, I don't even know, I'm not, I'm not good with ratings, but I'll give you a rating of how I rate the movie at the very end. But, so I'll go into spoilers. So, spoilers, here we go. So the part where I felt like the movie was dragging a bit was where they were like, oh, let's build a fort. Like, they start becoming friends, I guess. It was, like, interesting. Like, they becoming friends. Like, it almost felt like, oh, hey, we're just going to hang out with the animatronics. It's okay. They're children inside of, animatronics. They're nice. They're not going to kill anybody. Like, they might look scary, but they're nice. Like, that's what it felt like when Abby was like, hey, they're my friends. See, they're just tickling me. Everything's fine. It's fine. Like, and I'm just like, okay, like, where are we going with this? And then they're like, oh, let's build a fort. Let's have some fun. And they start playing the song and whatever. And then he starts talking to Vanessa. And I'm like, what? Who? Like, okay, now Vanessa's suspicious. She's not just a police officer. And then my friend Katie, she says like, oh, hey, Vanessa from the recent FNAF game, remember? I'm like, oh yeah, the recent FNAF game, Security Breach. Right, there's that lady named Vanessa. I totally forgot about that. And I was like, oh, okay, so I guess, I don't know if that's like canon to the games, but in this continuity, so William Afton like is related to Vanessa. That's her daughter. That's his daughter. Like, what? Like, I was like, whoa, I did not know that. I didn't know that. I was like, whoa, okay. So that's interesting. So thought that was cool. Cool like reveal, like twist. I was like, oh, okay. And then that phone guy, or I guess in a way he's the phone guy, but not really, because there's no thing where he like leaves a message. There's no phone guy. It's just him on the phone talking to him, and then it leads up to him getting into the place, which is sort of a correlation to the phone guy in the game, which is cool. But then like you find out it's William Afton later, not Steve Adler or whatever. I know it's not Steve Adler. It was Steve something on his name tag, and I was like, okay, so who is this guy? But anyway, I thought that was so cool, like the way he comes out. And it's like, uh-oh, like, wait, he can't shock him. He can't taser him. And then he's like laughing, like, ha, 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 I'm going to, I was just like, wow. Like, that was scary to me. I was like, oh, what's going to happen? He's going to die? And I thought Mike was going to die. He got really beat up. Like, oh, I was like, I was fearing for Mike. And then I was also like, oh man, that he actually, like, Vanessa got stabbed. Like, William, like, tried to kill his own daughter. Like, this guy's not a good person. Like, he's evil. I get it. He's the, like, evil guy. Like, he's a villain. Oh my gosh. Like, I feel like, I haven't read any of the FNAF books. So I feel like I'm not a big FNAF fan. I don't, like, read everything. I don't get invested into everything. I don't play the games very much. I just watch people play them on Markiplier streams and stuff. So I'm not the biggest FNAF fan. I don't know all the stuff, but that's why I'm just like, whoa, like, William Afton is not a good person. But obviously he's the villain of these movie series anyway. So anyway, the part where Abby is like picked up by Freddy at the house, I was like, really? They came to her house? Like, I was like, what? And then she's like, how do we get there? And then the taxi just shows up. I'm like, okay. And then Freddy gets into the taxi cab. And then the guy's like, oh, I got the weirdest, craziest people. I'm just like, what? Like, he's just totally okay with this. He's not like, ah! Like, he's not freaking out. about a freaking animatronic getting into his taxi. Like I get what Chris Stuckman was saying in his review. He's like, why aren't people having like an actual normal reaction to real animatronics being possessed? Like this like I get what he's saying. And there is a little bit of that where when Mike is like reacting and he's like, no, like there's got to be someone pulling the strings here. Like what's going on? And then he's like, oh, okay, I guess they're alive now. At least he tried to have an actual reaction to it. They tried to put that in there, but you can't really. I guess I didn't want to dwell on that too much and just have the story go on because this is a movie. Whatever, you try to accept it. It's just how a movie is. I guess that's what it was. Like I didn't really care myself. I at least liked that he acknowledged it. Anyways, I really enjoyed it. I feel like that the sequel is going to be, I think for the sequel, because at the very end, there was a little bit there wasn't like an after credit sequence. There was a mid credits thing, and that was just a gag with the taxi guy again. But there wasn't like a hook or like anything. Like, at the end, it was because William Afton's like, I always come back. And so that was kind of like the hook of like, oh, he'll probably come back. And I think, you do see like him like struggling in the suit at one point near the end of the movie. So he's not quite dead probably. So I think what's going to happen is that the next movie is going to take place at where Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was, where they go to the pizzeria and they get all the animatronics, and they get Springtrap, which is William Afton in the suit, and he's gonna be there, and he's gonna, it's gonna be like Five Nights at Freddy's 3. That's what the sequel's gonna be. I'm pretty sure, because we can't have it take place Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a prequel. I remember that now. So Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is what takes place after Five Nights at Freddy's 1. So that's probably where we're gonna be. Either that, or they make a prequel to this one, which they could do. I don't know. I guess they could do anything now that I think about it. But if they're going to do a sequel to this, then it's going to take place in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. And they'll probably try to take it like that, where they have the characters, these characters who are like teenagers or whatever. I think it was like teenagers who take the suits and the animatronics and they try to make it like a horror like attraction. That's what it was. Yeah. And there is like a security guard also there who has to keep watch. So it's probably not going to be Mike that time. Probably be someone else who they hire, because Mike's going to probably not wanting to have anything to do with it. But he'll probably be in the movie again, and he'll take part. So that'll be interesting. I like that. And I did really like that, you got to see the kids as they are. Like, these are the kids that are inside the animatronics. Like, I tried to actually paint this picture in your head. Like, okay, yes, these kids are inside the animatronics, because like you don't really get that in the game, like, and I guess that makes it a whole lot clearer to people who are watching this film. You're like, oh, okay, right. It almost feels a little bit too like spot on, like too plain and out in the open, like hello, but like you didn't really, but like at the same time, it's not really. Like, they did a good job with it. They tried to, like, have that be to its advantage, because it was doing this whole dream thing where he's trying to discover what happened to his brother. And I like that a lot. I was like, okay. And I like that he actually had a character growth moment there when he's, like, putting his hand towards his brother inside of his dream. He's like putting his hand there, like yeah, I want to be here. I can just be with my brother. Because, like, he doesn't know that his brother's dead. I guess he kind of thinks maybe he might be dead, because like that he wants to know this whole time. He wants to know where his brother is. He doesn't know that he's dead, and then he's like wanting them to help him, and they're like, "Oh, we can just have you stay in this dream world every night, and then in exchange, let us have Abby." And then he's like, "Okay, sure," because he doesn't think that he likes Abby. But then when he puts his hand on his brother's like head, and then he remembers like a good memory with Abby, a happy memory with Abby, he's like, oh, actually, I don't want this. Wait a minute. I was like, okay, that's good. See, that's a good character moment. You actually tried to have this character feel like you could connect with them, because it almost feels like it's trying to also say, on a surface level, even when you're an adult, like, he's still struggling to become an adult. Like, you can tell he isn't really a good parent, like, yet, but he's trying his best, and he's trying to figure out how to live his life, but he's also hanging on to the past quite a bit. And it's such an interesting character development. Such an interesting character. I like this a lot. This is so relatable to me in a way. Just in a way, like, holding on to the past. I can really connect with that. I really like that. And, great on you, Scott Cawthon. Great on you for, making this really interesting character that we could connect with and paint, like, a good picture in our head of, like, okay, this is what this character is about. I like that. That means, sure, like, you could say, oh, but it really didn't amount to much in the movie. Well, yeah, but it's a good. It doesn't make the movie any less than it is. It still makes it a good movie. It still invests you in the world more, and I like that. I like that a lot. It's better than having, like, the police officer in the Sonic movie, where he's just a police officer that hangs out with Sonic. Like, I mean, James Marsden was alright. I liked him alright, but he wasn't that interesting. Like, this actually felt like they tried to make you invested. And I appreciate that. Anyway, I'm going on way too much about this. I'm rambling, I know. Anyway, so I enjoyed Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie. I had a good time with it. I consider it a thrilling, fun horror flick. It's not the greatest horror movie ever, but it was an enjoyable movie. And I would give it, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 score. That's what I would give it. And that's what I would say. And I guess if we were going to put it down to like a 5 stars, I'd give it a 4 out of 5. Like, I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. It's not like up there with like Halloween, level of horror. I don't think it has to be. Like, it's not, to me, it didn't feel much like a horror film so much as like a character study and a fun concept. Like it was horror, but it was also very interesting. Like, it was like psychological, but it wasn't like psychological horror necessarily. It's more like an interesting character study wrapped around with this horror element as well. And I really liked that. I really liked that it felt almost like somebody, Scott Cawthon or someone, was putting themselves in this movie to the main character. I really liked that a lot. So if you haven't seen Five Nights at Freddy's, go check it out. It's a great film. I really liked it. It's not fantastic. It's not going to change the world. It's not going to be incredible to everyone. It's not going to connect with everyone. If you don't really connect with Mike, I can understand why you might not like the movie, but I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments section. Thank you all for watching this video. And this has been Shock from the Shock Block, and I'll see you guys next time. Laters.